Hi everyone, good morning. We are sorry for the delay because of some technical issue. We were not able to initiate the session. I hope that you guys have covered the weekly content of Tableau uploaded in your LMS. Please put your queries in the chat box. Whatever doubts you had while going through the content, you can put that in the chat box and we will discuss it with one by one. Okay, thank you. I'm waiting for your questions. Questions in the chat box, those who are raising hands. I will discuss them one by one. Yes, guys, please put your questions in the chat box. I hope that please raise your hands and confirm if you have completed the weekly content of Tableau. I hope you all are sincerely going through that, because without that, you will not be able to match the pace and you won't be having any questions. You won't be able to make use of these sessions. Great. Those who have covered the content, great, good work. Others, can you let me know why the session, why you were missing the sessions? Please put your queries in the chat box. All right, the first question that we have is, okay, the first question that we have is why why we choose Tableau over Power BI. Okay, we usually discuss this in almost all of the sessions, but yes, it's important to understand what and why we do that. Okay, I won't say that we choose Tableau over Power BI, but definitely this varies from person to person. Okay, it is all about the comfort. Both Tableau and Power BI have a very good, very strong market, right? And there are very strong communities, people who prefer working in Tableau, people who prefer working in Power BI. Of course, the option is available for both, but yes, choosing one depends on their comfort and their preference. There are very basic differences in terms of visualizations. They both are almost equal, right? The visualizations that you can do in Tableau, you can do that in Power BI also. The only thing is that in Power BI, whenever you go ahead with some complex calculations or some complex features you want to draw out of the original data, in those cases, sometimes we need a background knowledge of a technique or a language called DAX, right? So that is needed in Power BI. So that becomes an additional point. So that is, of course, also an advantage and a disadvantage. So people who want to learn about that, or who are already comfortable with the working of Power BI, and they don't mind just giving a little more understanding of DAX, they are good to go with Power BI. But those who feel that I don't want to learn any new technology, I just want to make use of the visualization, drag, drop, and everything. So that becomes easier when it comes to Tableau. Okay. Okay, see, whenever we have missing values, I don't know, I mean, we cannot enable any missing value, because it if you just think about it, it does not make any sense. How are you going to plot a missing value on the graph? It will just be on the axis, or sometimes it may show unknown to you, but it is just not useful if you plot that on any graph. It will not be plotted. It will basically be on the axis. Uh, can you elaborate on why do you want to enable that? Okay, no worries. It's all right. Whenever we have any missing values in the data, the graph will automatically takes care of that, and it will ignore them, because you cannot plot a missing value. It is basically a null, right? And since we handle everything in SQL, when it comes to Tableau, it is read as a null or an empty value. So it will not be, pulled by the it will not be plotted on the graph. It will automatically be ignored by Tableau, right? So Tableau in itself is very intelligent, right? If you observe, it already takes care of dimensions, measures, right? Now it takes care of missing values. There are many things which you will understand when you move ahead, that many things are already handled at Tableaus, and a few things are needed that you can do as per your requirement. Okay, I hope this answers your question. Great. Yes, other questions if you have, please put them in the chat box. Okay, the next question that we have is, do we have to remember all the functions? No, no, not at all. You don't have to remember, and it's just not possible to remember. What you can do is, whenever we move to Tableau, let me just connect a data set. Just give me a minute. I'll show you where you can review all of that. Right. You can see that I have made the connection. Now I am pulling the data. This step is very important. Just the connection will not give you the data. Okay. Right. So this is where your sheets are, worksheets. Okay. Now what you have to do, if let's say you want to review the functions or you want to use any function. So see the arrow here, click on it, create calculated field. Okay. You can see all the options here. Let's say you want something related to date. You can just write date and you can see all the options along with the examples that what they are trying to do, right? See here, date difference, date name, date pass, everything. Similarly, let's say I want to do something with string. Hold on, it's taking a, yeah, str string. So you can see we have two options available for that. Okay, so it's not possible to remember. And also you can see here there is a drop down where currently all is selected. You can select from the type of your calculation or the type of the data, number, string, date, type, conversion, logical, aggregate, user, table calculation, or spatial, right? So you can select that and you will get all the options that are available for you. Okay. So this also gives us a great idea. Sometimes we may not be sure what operation we want to perform, but yes, given the options, given these descriptions along with the examples, this gives us a good idea, at least how to proceed ahead. Okay, in which platform we can practice related to Tableau? On Tableau only. On Tableau itself, you can take any data set, you can draw some questions from it, right? By questions, I mean, whenever, if you remember, with reference to your machine learning project, we load all the libraries, right? We load our data and then we perform the EDA on that, right? So what is EDA? Whenever this EDA you are doing on your own because you are working on the project yourself. But if you'll be in the industry working, when you'll be the industry working, then there will be some questions given to you. Okay, some tasks given to you. Hi, I'm audible, right? Okay, okay, I don't know, maybe some network fluctuation. All right. So as I was saying that whenever a project is assigned to you, there are some questions that needs to be answered. So in that manner, we proceed with the data analysis or visualization, right? So you can, for your practice, you can gather the data, you can see what questions you can generate from them and try to solve them using Tableau. Okay, that is the type of a project usually that comes with it. It's all about answering some questions. This just becomes complex as the data proceeds or what the problem statement is. Okay, I hope I made sense. Okay, ASCII function in strings. Okay, let's see that. We'll go to create calculated field. We are going to select for the ASCII and let's see what it says. It returns the ASCII code value of the first character in a string. Okay. For example, you have a column with some values, some strings, okay, and you want to convert that in form of an ASCII. You want to generate a new column with the ASCII values, okay. So let's see how this works. I'm going to make a column of, let's say, state ASCII. Okay, and this is the name of my column. I am going to call for the ASCII function. Right. Okay, because it's a column name, no need to add strings. So I have called for ASCII to find. So what I'm saying is that create a new column named state ASCII where all the values of the state will be converted to an ASCII and saved in a new column, right? So we are not making any changes in the original data. We are just generating a new column. Okay. What is an ASCII value? All right. See, ASCII values are a numeric representation of any number. Sorry, that the sentence didn't make any sense. So ASCII is the numeric representation of your characters from A to Z. Okay, so from A to Z, there is a numeric representation so that your system can understand everything. So this is a very basic fundamental. Your system, your computer, it understands only two things, 0 or 1. Okay, so ASCIIs were introduced so that we can convert those characters into numbers. Okay, so it is like a communication, a step of communication for between us and the system. Okay. Okay, all right. Yes, others also, please put your questions in the chat box. I will not be able to do that because I am not using Tableau online. I'm using Tableau public. And I don't have the access of Tableau online. What you can do is raise a ticket for this particular query. Let me look into it. If I will be able to get an access, then anyone from the technical team will be helping you out on that. Meanwhile, I can go through that and see if I can get the access of that. Okay, dimensions and measures in Tableau. So you can see on your screen that there are, let me highlight, this is something which is a light blue in color, right? And this is something that is green in color. Okay, so those columns, whenever we load the data in the Tableau, we make the connection, we load the data. Whenever we do that, Tableau will automatically detect the type of data, okay, the type of the column using the data that is available in that column. if it is numeric or it is categorical or it is date type or it is any geographical location, things like that. So those here in blue are your dimensions because these are category type of columns. Okay. And the ones below green in color, that are your measures because these are numerical in nature: profit, quantity, discount, sales. The logic applies the same that we have in machine learning. We have categorical and numerical. The same concept is here. The only difference is of the name, dimensions and measures. I hope I hope your question is answered. Great. Yes, please put your questions in the chat box. Yes, please put your questions in the chat box. Okay, geographical data types. That geographical data types are those which you can see here: country, state, and city, which refers to any location. And those are red in this sign, which refers to geographical. Okay, so you can see here for geographical role, it says that it is a country. If we check for state, the geographical role is state. Okay, so these are your geographical types, which has something to do with the location. And when we try to plot that on a map, if I pull out state and I want to check the profit, and show me, let's say I say that draw it on a map. This takes a while. Okay, so you can see here currently I have the sum of profit, which gives me these colors. Okay, now let me remove this and let me give color to the state. Okay, now observe how the data is changed. Okay, as I zoom in, you can see that for all these, this is the country Netherlands, this is the state, right? The color represents these things. Okay, now what about my profit? Okay, let me take my profit here, sum of profit, and let's see how this looks like. So I don't want my data like this. Okay, so I'll take my sum of profit, I'll bring it here, right? Hold on. I'll take my sum of profit and I will take this to label. Okay, you can see here label. So now you can see that the sum of profit is displayed here. Country, Netherlands, state, Ronker, and profit minus 2796. Netherlands, South Holland, profit minus 6746. Okay, so randomly we can check for all these. So this is the use of your geographical locations. I hope it's clear. It's showing profit in negative because there must be values where profit is in negative. It is showing it positive also in some cases. It is showing positive also. See, a profit can be in positive or negative. That is, it's not like the profit cannot be in negative. It of course is not profit, it's loss. But the column name is profit. It is giving you the numbers. Yes, negative means loss, but the column will be the same, right? In the data, you will not have two separate columns because the one record which has let's say we have this. Yes, Denmark. Okay, so in this case, I will have either profit or loss, not both of them. So in the profit column, the data will be empty. This is, I'm saying if I take two columns, profit and loss. So the profit column will be empty, but the column in the loss one will have the values, right? In the case, let's say Germany, we have profit and positive. So the data will be in positive with in profit, written in profit, but nothing in loss. So that is a very wrong way of representing the data. You have two separate columns. And if you will be plotting anything or if you want to make use of those columns, it is also very difficult. So everything is represented in one particular column. Now this is your understanding, then if it is in minus, then definitely it is loss. We are not making any profit. Here we have only one column, profit. The values will help you in determining that for every state how the situation looks like. Continuous. Discrete and continuous means the same, like it is there in machine learning. There is no difference in Tableau. This is a universal concept. Discrete means whenever we have data which is categorical in nature, that is your discrete data, and the one which is numerical, continuous in nature, that is your continuous data. Yes, please put any more questions if you have in the chat box. All right. The next question that we have is different filters in Tableau and how it works. Okay. So see, there are at various stages where you can apply your filters. Okay. So there are, it defines, see, wherever you apply the filters, it defines that what is the use of that. Okay. So whenever we are deciding that which or at which point you want to apply the filters, that is depending on your requirement. At if you want the data to be filtered, the filtration to be applied on the complete data level at the polling point, or if you want to apply it only specific to that graph, that worksheet, then you can also do that. Okay. So if we talk about different types, then we have I think 5 or 6 types of filters, right? Let me write that. Okay. Types of filters in Tableau. The first one is your extract filter. Okay. So extract filter means, as the name suggests, try to relate all those by the name so that it is easier for you to understand. So extract filter means it is used at the stage where we are extracting the data from various sources. You remember that we make connection and we pull the data. The data is displayed on the right hand side, and then we go below of the page, and then we go to the sheets. At that connection point only, if you can, if you want, you can apply some filters so that that filtered data only will be loaded in Tableau. You know, if you're sure of some data points which you know that you will not be using it further, you will not be using it in the visualizations. So you can put an extraction filter on that, and that data, the filtered data, only will move to Tableau, to your dashboard or to your worksheets. Right? So let's see where that is. This is my, going back to the data source. This is the data source, right? So there is right. We have the filters option available here. Yeah, here we can define what kind of filters you need to add, which column you don't want. let's say I'll say city. Okay, so in city you can define that which data points you don't need, which kind of filter you want to apply. Again, there is a lot of options for that. You want to exclude anything, or you want to make a custom list, or you want to use all of that. That is available. If you want to use some wildcard options, that it should start with A or it should end with B, so you can do that. You can put a condition to it, which includes some range, the count, anything like that. Or you can do the filter for the top 20, top 100, like that. So this way you can add your filters on the data level itself. So this becomes your extract filter, right? The next that we have, the next one that we have is, again, now once we have done the filtering on the basis of your extracting, right? The next thing that comes is your context filter. Okay, so what is a context filter? Context filter is a filter on its own, where whenever we have pulled the data in the sheet, there you have an option of applying your context filters. Let's go back to Tableau again. We are on our sheet, right? So I think, hold on. All right, so you have an option here. So basically, first understand, see, context filters are helpful when we want to apply any, you know, any relatable or relevant context to the entire data. If there are multiple filters present, right? For example, you have applied multiple filters on your, context level, you have applied multiple filters on some other categories. So then it is used in a worksheet. It will divide that into many parts, right? By many parts, I mean, we need to make a new graph. Hold on. So let's say I want profit here and I want segment. Okay. Segment is in three, we have three values for segment. We have consumer, we have corporate, we have home office. Okay. So what we are taking we are basically taking the profit of that, right? So now if I say that I want to apply my segment, where is segment, as a filter, right? Okay, if I will apply that as a filter. So here, if I can show filter, I can show highlighter. Show filter will give me this section here. I can say that I just want to see the consumer, or I just want to see the home office, I just want to see the corporate, or I want to see both of them. So this will give you an option to do that. So context filter basically means that whatever is relevant for that graph, you can apply your filter on that basis. Okay, clear till here? All right, the next that we have is, hold on. All right, the next one that we have is somewhat similar to your extract filter. That becomes your data source filter. Okay, so this also works in a similar manner, right? The data source filter is somewhat similar to your extract filter. It tries to minimize the data feed for faster processing. Okay, the only difference is that the data source filter will help in direct application of the filter to the source data, and it will quickly upload the data whichever qualifies for that scenario, whatever the scenario of filter you have kept. Okay, so it works in the same manner as your context filter. The conditions are same. You will get an option for condition, you will get an option for by field, or if you want to exclude anything, you want to include anything. It, the only factor is that it will help you in doing faster processing, because you will basically be applying that on a subset of the data and you will pulling that on your Tableau, not the complete data. Whatever is relevant, you will just pull that. Okay, so we discussed about extract, context, data source. Then we have dimension filters. Okay, now that we have taken the data, the extract and the data source was applied on the basis of data on while selecting the data. But once we have taken the data, we can access the values that we have highlighted, or if we want to remove them from any specific dimension, that can be done using dimension filter. Okay, if you have some columns that are giving you more information, that you want to focus more, you feel that that is going to help you more in answering your questions, so in that case you can use the dimension filter. You can click, there is an option, let me go to Tableau. All right, you can see here we have option of filters. Right now we have applied it based on segment. Okay, so this of course you can change based on your requirement. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible? Okay, I think there was some network issue. See, the only difference in filters, eventually everything is going to apply on your data only, on your graph only, and it will apply in a similar manner. no matter which filter you use. Okay, so your basic point is that you have to do the filtering. The one that we discussed before was on the data source level. Here, whatever filtering you were doing here in the data source level only. Right? You can sort your data also. You can do many manipulations here. You can show alias, right? Or you can select, let's say you want to say that I want 10,000 rows. You want to show some hidden fields. You want to show some alias. You can even change the name here. So this change, whatever you are doing, that is on your data. It has not moved to Tableau yet. We have not moved to Tableau. So this level of filtering is your data level filtering. Okay. Now this filter that we apply here, this one, hold on, in the second sheet, this segment filter, this is for this particular graph. Okay. There is no change made in the data. The data will remain the same. If you will move to sheet 3, you can see that you will have everything. Even if you don't select consumers here, you will be able to get consumers here in the third sheet. So the filters, overall, generally, there are two types of filters. Okay, we take it up at the bigger picture. The filter one is the one that is applied on graphs, and the other one is one that is applied on your original data source, right? So the one that you apply on the data source will be reflected on all the sheets. If at the data source level, I will remove consumers. You will not be able to see consumers in any of your sheets, Okay, but if we apply the filter on the graph, like you see here in sheet 1, we applied filter that we don't want to see the data of consumers. It is limited to sheet 2. It is not going to any other sheet. It will not affect anything else. Okay. So here you can see I'm able to use that. So whenever you want to use any filter which has to be limited to that graph, then focus on these kind of filters. Okay. Here. But if you want something that reflects in all the sheets, maybe usually that's the change in the data. You want only out of 20, you want only 15 records, or you want to make some changes in the values. You are saying that I don't want to show loss. For example, you are showing it to a client, you don't want to show loss for any of the states. Then we can filter on the basis of sales, said I want only positive values or sales greater than, let's say, 10,000. So I will only have the data points where my sales is greater than 10,000. All right. I hope you're able to understand that what is the difference now. On a bigger picture, that these two types of filters are only available. Okay. Because that is the application of that. Now, whenever we go around with 4, 5, or 5 types of filters, that only gives you different options to apply, but eventually it will apply to your graph or your data only. Right? I hope it's clear. Yes. Any more questions? If you have, please put them in the chat box. of joins remains the same as we have in SQL. We have inner join, outer join, we have left join, right join, full outer join. So all these options are available in Tableau. And of course, the logic remains the same. If you want, if you're using two records, then you can pull the data accordingly, whichever join you want to apply. For example, here we have orders, we have people, we have returns. Okay, hold on. Okay, so you can see that we have pulled orders. Now, if I click on this arrow, I have an option of open. Okay, I will click on open. It will open this canvas. This becomes your physical layer. Okay, so let's say I want to bring people. So when I bring people, see, by default it has applied inner join. But if I click on that, I have an option to change the type. I can make it a left one, right one, full outer. Also, you can define that what are going to be the keys for that. Automatically, it takes region because that is a common column available in both orders and people. So if you want to make changes on that, then you can do that. So this is how you can make the change in the join. Time. If you don't have any questions, we'll be closing the sessions. If you have any, please ask them in the next 2 minutes. Yes, there is a difference between sets and groups. Grouping is, it is a process where we are combining multiple members from a single dimension to a higher category. Okay. For example, we have country in our data. So there we have state, we have city. So this becomes your bigger picture. This becomes your group, which includes multiple members which are combined together. Okay. Now, if we are creating any set, it is the process where we combine members which are from multiple dimensions. Okay. So the process of creating sets is different. Now, if I will take, let's say, okay, let me take order ID and row ID. And I can go and create a set of that. Right, so you can see here I have an option to create set. So if I'll create here set for order ID, I can add as many values as I want. Okay, so basically set is something where we use one single column. Okay, and on the basis of those the values of that column, we create a set. Okay, for instance, for order ID, I want to create a set of ES 200 and 2015. Okay, so I'll have ES 2015 values only and no other values. So that becomes one set because I want to see the profit or the sales for those IDs which are of 2015. But when it comes to groups, then we are using multiple columns to create a hierarchy of that. Okay, you can see if I click on this country, city, state, it asks me to remove hierarchy because this is already in one group. All right. Yes, one more important point. The difference between one major difference between sets and groups is whenever we make any change in the data. For example, in set, you can see that we are using the values within the column. So whenever we will make any change, the change will reflect in your set also. If we are removing any value of 20 from that 2015 record, if we are removing that, then it will be removed from your set also. So the sets are dynamic in nature. But when it comes to groups, they are not. Okay. So if we do any changes, the set will update it while it will not happen in the groups. Yes, any more questions? Please put them in the chat box. If you don't have any questions, then we'll be closing the session. All right. So since we have no further questions, we'll be closing the session. Thank you everyone for your time. Please ensure that when we meet again next week, you have covered your content for Tableau, whatever the new content is uploaded. If you still have not covered the previous one, you can do that also. Then it will be easier for us to discuss the questions and the queries. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Have a nice day.